What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about history's greatest figures was only half the story? Behind every famous portrait, beneath every celebrated achievement, lies a web of secrets that would shock even the most devoted history buffs. We've all grown up learning about these legendary figures, their victories, their innovations, their lasting impact on our world. But today, we're going to peel back the carefully crafted layers of their public image to reveal the fascinating secrets they tried so desperately to hide. Before we dive into these hidden histories, let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered what your favorite historical figures were really like behind closed doors? What thoughts kept them awake at night? What secrets did they carry to their graves? Today we're going to explore exactly that. Let's begin with Napoleon Bonaparte. The name alone evokes images of military genius, imperial grandeur, and unshakable confidence. The man who conquered most of Europe, who crowned himself Emperor of France, who seemed fearless in the face of any challenge, was absolutely terrified of cats. Yes, you heard that right. The mighty Napoleon Bonaparte suffered from allurophobia, an intense fear of felines that actually impacted his military campaigns and daily life. During the Egyptian campaign of 1798, Napoleon's fear of cats became particularly problematic. Egypt, being home to thousands of sacred cats, presented a unique challenge for the emperor. Historical records show that his officers had to carefully screen his lodgings for any signs of feline presence before he would enter. This wasn't just a mild dislike. It was a debilitating phobia that required constant management by his staff. Some historians believe this phobia stemmed from a childhood incident where Napoleon was allegedly attacked by a wildcat in Corsica. Others suggest it might have been connected to Egyptian mythology, where cats were seen as powerful spiritual beings. Contemporary accounts describe instances where important military meetings had to be relocated because someone's pet cat was in the vicinity. Imagine being the person who had to tell Napoleon that his war council needed to move because of a sleeping tabby. The emperor's fear was so well known among his inner circle that his enemies actually considered using it against him. There are unconfirmed reports that British spies once proposed releasing hundreds of cats into the areas where Napoleon was camping during his campaigns. While this plan was never executed, the fact that it was even considered shows how serious his phobia was. Now, let's shift our attention to Abraham Lincoln, a figure we think we know so well. Before he became the great emancipator, before he preserved the Union and changed the course of American history, Lincoln had a completely different passion, one that would surprise most Americans today. In 1849, Abraham Lincoln became the only U.S. president to hold a patent number 6,469 to be exact. This wasn't just some minor invention, it was a sophisticated device designed to lift boats over shoals and other river obstructions. The inspiration came from Lincoln's early experiences working on riverboats, where he witnessed countless vessels getting stuck on sandbars. The young Lincoln spent hours watching these boats struggle, and his innovative mind began working on a solution. The device consisted of a series of bellows attached to the sides of a boat that could be inflated when needed to lift the vessel over shallow waters. While it was never commercially produced, this invention reveals a fascinating aspect of Lincoln's character, his practical, problem-solving mindset that would later serve him so well during the Civil War. Lincoln's passion for innovation didn't stop there. He was known to spend hours studying mechanical problems and discussing new technologies. During his presidency, he would often visit the patent office to examine new inventions, seeing them as symbols of American ingenuity and progress. This lesser-known side of Lincoln shows us a man who wasn't just a political leader, but a creative thinker who understood the power of practical solutions. Moving on to one of history's most celebrated artists, Vincent van Gogh's story takes us deep into the realm of hidden struggles and silent suffering. The swirling skies of starry night, the vibrant sunflowers, the haunting self-portraits. These masterpieces speak to us across centuries. But behind these works lies a story of profound suffering and hidden struggles that most people never learn about. Van Gogh's letters to his brother Theo reveal a man grappling with severe mental health issues in an era that didn't understand them. During his lifetime, he was institutionalized multiple times, but the exact nature of his condition remains debated to this day. Some experts suggest he may have suffered from bipolar disorder. Others point to schizophrenia, while some believe he had temporal lobe epilepsy. What's particularly fascinating is that Van Gogh actually volunteered for many of his hospitalizations. His letters reveal a man who was painfully aware of his condition and desperately sought help, even in an era when mental health treatment was primitive at best. He wrote to Theo, "I put my heart and soul into my work, and I have lost my mind in the process." Looking at his paintings with this knowledge reveals new layers of meaning. The cypress trees in Starry Night writhe like flames against the sky, painted while he was institutionalized at Saint Paul de Moselle Asylum. The yellow house in Arles, where he dreamed of creating an artist's colony, became both his sanctuary and his prison. His famous self-portraits, with their intense searching gazes, document not just his appearance, but his psychological state over time. But perhaps the most poignant aspect of Van Gogh's secret struggles was his desperate desire to be understood. In his letters, he wrote extensively about his mental state, trying to make sense of his experiences. He described his episodes of mental distress with remarkable clarity, often using his art as a means of communication when words failed him. Now, let's delve into a scandal that would make today's tabloids blush: the Maria Reynolds affair. Alexander Hamilton, the brilliant first Secretary of the Treasury, the architect of America's financial system, became entangled in America's first major political sex scandal. The details of this story are so incredible that if they weren't thoroughly documented, you might think they were fiction. In 1791, a 23-year-old Maria Reynolds approached Hamilton, claiming her abusive husband had abandoned her. Hamilton, moved by her story, agreed to help. What began as an act of charity quickly evolved into a passionate affair. But here's where it gets complicated. Maria's husband, James Reynolds, knew about the affair all along. It was a carefully orchestrated blackmail scheme. Reynolds repeatedly demanded payments from Hamilton to keep the affair secret, and Hamilton, fearing the damage to his reputation and marriage, paid. Over the course of several years, he paid thousands of dollars in blackmail money, equivalent to hundreds of thousands in today's currency. But when James Reynolds was later arrested for another crime, he threatened to expose Hamilton's financial dealings, suggesting that they were related to speculation with government funds. When the affair was discovered and Hamilton was accused of financial impropriety, he did something unprecedented. He published a 95-page pamphlet detailing every aspect of the affair. The Reynolds pamphlet was essentially America's first political sex scandal tell-all. Hamilton chose to admit to adultery rather than have anyone think he had corrupted his public office. But the real scandal isn't just the affair, it's what happened after. Elizabeth Eliza Hamilton, Alexander's wife, not only forgave him, but stood by him through the entire ordeal. After Hamilton's death in the infamous duel with Aaron Burr, Eliza spent the next 50 years preserving his legacy. She collected his papers, defended his reputation, and even co-founded New York's first private orphanage in his honor. These secrets remind us that historical figures weren't just the two-dimensional characters we read about in textbooks. They were complex human beings, full of contradictions, fears, and hidden struggles. Their secrets didn't make them any less remarkable. If anything, understanding their private battles makes their public achievements even more impressive. Napoleon conquered Europe despite his feline phobia. Lincoln's inventive mind helped shape his presidency. Van Gogh's mental health struggles gave birth to some of the most beautiful art ever created. And Hamilton's personal scandal led to an extraordinary story of forgiveness and dedication. So, next time you read about a historical figure, remember, there's always more to the story than meets the eye. These hidden facets of their lives don't diminish their achievements. Rather, they make them more relatable, more human, and in many ways, more remarkable. They remind us that greatness doesn't require perfection. It requires perseverance, resilience, and the courage to keep going despite our personal demons. What secrets do you think other historical figures might have kept? The more we dig into history, the more we realize that every famous figure had their own hidden struggles, secret fears, and private battles. Perhaps that's what makes their public achievements all the more impressive. They accomplished extraordinary things, not because they were perfect, but because they persevered despite their imperfections. So, what do you think? Are you shocked by any of these secrets? Do you have any secrets about historical figures that you'd like to share? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out my other videos for more fascinating historical insights.